What up? Sober experience. We are back. Vibing. Yep.
Just another day in paradise. Or that's the same, right? When the rent higher than a damn satellite. When you're feeling more alone than ever before. And you try and live a better life, but you live a double life. Fake smile is the
What up, everybody? Welcome back. Sober experience. That's my man Jordan Alva. Jordon Alva. Scenic. Off his album Naive. He's a sweet kid, man. He's a sweet kid. He's got good message, got good heart. You know, he should do some push-ups, but he's a good kid. You know, all these kids are wiry nowadays, man. It's like, you know, it's just a whole different time. It's just a whole different time, and cut that off. Yeah, it's a whole different time. Like, Pickadoo. You know, in our day, in my day, you know, I don't know, man. It was just so much pressure. Just from everywhere. You know, just so much pressure. You know, as a young man, you had to be. Yeah, man, you just had to be. You know, things that you weren't. You know, things that you weren't. Like, who is naturally who they are? Like, a lot of times, like, you know, this is shit that, like, you know, what can I say? Things that I learned, things that I learned by other people making me do shit, and then I liked it. You know, I don't know what I'm really trying to say. I mean, I know what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that, like, you know, you're like this little, you know, ball of ambitions, I guess. But I don't even remember if I knew what I was really interested in, or who I was just kind of like bubbling around. And then over time, you know, people interfere in your life. You know, your life is like kind of like just like having fun and doing whatever, being a kid. And you got people who've been kids, and they're trying to school you to the game. You know, and it kind of feels like torture because it's not immediately what you want to do. You know, when I was young, like 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. You know, I was very fortunate enough to have two parents, and I grew up in a small house, and they cooked us breakfast almost every day. Now, breakfast during the week was just medium boiled eggs, hard boiled eggs. That was it. Maybe my mom would make some farina, farina. But the good one, the one with the white box with that little boy on the front, you know. And my dad was like, it was like out of like some kind of television show, I guess. You would, if you were throwing it back now, that's what it would be. You know, my dad, getting ready, my mom getting ready for work. Me and my sister, we'd be up. They'd get us, make us jump in the shower. You know, we were like people who showered in the morning. Nobody showered at night. I don't know why. But we showered in the morning. We got dressed. I had to go eat my breakfast. My dad, I don't even know if I was hungry, but I knew that I was not allowed to eat my breakfast until I did my freaking push-ups. Like and it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so hungry and I have to do these push-ups to eat the eggs. whatever. Medium boiled eggs. Fucking crazy. Who gives a kid medium boiled eggs and I guess like some toast or something, you know? My mom was a little bit good about it though too, because she would give me like bread and coffee, I go check her before like all this stuff would happen. Sometimes she'd give me like a little bit of her coffee. Even though my mom, she drank like friggin', I don't know. I don't know what the hell she drank, but it had a lot of sugar in it. And a lot of, I guess, stimulant. You dip your bread in there, boom, you eat it. Either way, that wasn't every day. But every day, I had to do push-ups before I had the eggs. And I don't even know if I wanted the eggs, except for I knew that that was the next thing on the menu, that I had to have the eggs, that I had to eat the eggs. But in order to get to the eggs, I had to do these fucking push-ups. And it wasn't a lot. 20. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it was, 20 or 30 push-ups. And like, yeah, I fucking hated it. Who the hell wants to do push-ups right when they get up in the morning? Yeah, who the hell wants to do that? And I would do it. And sometimes when I was a little kid, I would be upset about it. And he would make me do them even if like there was kind of like if my cousins stayed over or something, and it was like a Saturday or whatever or a Sunday, and Saturday and Sunday we got real breakfast, like bro, scrambled eggs, fucking bacon, sometimes pancakes. My parents, they would take grapefruits and they would cut them in half, and so it would be like a little bowl, and then they would like give you this little spoon that had these teeth on it, and you would and they would cut it, all those little things, just make it like a little bowl of whatever. You'd sprinkle sugar on top of it. I've had, ruby red grapefruit and yellow grapefruit. Yeah, it was beautiful, but you had to do fucking push-ups before you could eat your food, And then me, I was a little scrawny kid. But even though I hated that stuff, when I went to school, or when I was out in the playground or in the neighborhood, apparently not everybody does push-ups. And that was a good thing. It was a good thing. Yeah, not everybody did push-ups. So, yeah. So if something happened, as little kids do, everyone's shoving each other. Who wants to take whose bike? Who wants to do this? Who wants to do that? I wasn't the weakest link. So even though I felt like a weak link in front of my dad, because he would make me feel weak, he'd be like, come on, don't be a pussy. Do your fucking push-up right now. Like, and he would like scare us. He was just like a scary guy. He just was. And he would, we'd be in the middle of eating, and he'd come into the kitchen, just check on us, You leave two kids in the kitchen, 1 5, 1 7, eating fucking eggs while you're doing whatever you're doing, getting ready to go take on the world. He'd walk into the kitchen in his fucking tighty whities with it, brushing his teeth, and he'd yell at us. He'd like startle us. I think he did it just to fuck with us, but he would startle us. He'd say, eat now. And me and my sister, we'd be like, what? And we'd look at him and he'd be like, don't stop, just eat. And he'd fucking go back, fucking brushing his teeth, his fucking underwear, Dude, the guy was, he was like from the fucking, I don't know. The guy was born in a blender or something. I don't know what it was. So that's what it was. It was a lot of that. And just in that vein, yeah. You really become grateful. You really become grateful. Because yeah, all of those push-ups, they showed up when they needed to show up. That I wasn't, in that way, I wasn't insecure in school, and I was a very active kid. I was a good athlete. I wasn't first, but I wasn't last. You know, and it was so crazy, like, you know. But that's but you know, going back, when you think about your life, you're like, wait a minute. You know, this guy was doing the right thing. He was preparing me for the perils of, you know, just existing. That's what he was doing. And I didn't even know, you know. I didn't even know. He was preparing me because it's like, hey, look, man, anything, you know, you want to be a good basketball player, you want to be a good student, you want to be a good whatever. Like, dude, man, it's fucking tough. And you're going to have to learn how to do tough shit. Like doing shit that you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. You know? And to face yourself like that. Because he's not going to be, obviously, he's not going to be around forever. And he wasn't around I mean, he's around now. But when there were times, I guess when I had to make something happen, I was emotionally and mentally prepared. I was like, bro, they used to kick our ass if we didn't even finish those eggs. You had to eat everything. You didn't eat those eggs, bro. Let me tell you. I mean, was it like fucking World War II fucking beaten crazy? No. But he would take like this white like washcloth, like a towel, and he would like smack you with like a rat tail. You know, you spin it around, you make it long, and he just whip you once or twice with it. It would fucking hurt. He's like, yo, you gotta finish your food, man. And you know, I don't know if there was so many times where you could say, well, if you don't finish your food, you're gonna be hungry in school. And all they got in school is motherfucking garbage. And if you're hungry and you're eating this fucking garbage, you ain't going to learn anything because you're fucking hungry. You know, I don't even know if you could even, if a child could understand that, you know, or could understand that like, hey, listen, I don't have time to explain to your peanut brain that this is actually going to be really good for you in the long run because I can't negotiate with a terrorist, which that's what little children are. You know, that's what young people are. That's what people, untrained, undisciplined people, they're just terrorists, man. To themselves as adults and maybe to the other people around them that love them. But, you know, a little kid, you can't really negotiate with him. Sometimes you just got to get fucking crazy, you know? And if smacking him with the towel, I guess, was his way, instead of like, I don't know, he didn't have time to sit down and try to convince me. Try to convince me what? That he was doing the right thing? What the hell do I know? But I know this. When it was time for, again, for me to excel, you know, again, if I was in gym class, I wasn't the weakest kid. And I don't know if I would have been the weakest kid without all them push-ups and sit-ups or whatever. But I can't say that they didn't help. You know, so he knew fucking something. And then when I started taking martial arts, same thing, you know. Bro, he sent me to a school, you know, and these guys, it was, you know, it was what it was. But it was one of these, initially it turned into like Tiger Showman, but initially it was not that. Initially it was something else. It was UAK. And these guys were fucking tough, man. And they're walking around with a sword made out of bamboo sticks. And they be smacking you on your fucking legs and smacking you on your stomach. Shit that if you did it today, only like a real dad would be like, all right, cool. You know? Like some of these other dads, it would be like something else. You know? It'd be like, fucking, you know, get my kid out of there. You know? Nobody's getting waterboarded. you know. But I think it's a noble thing. It's a good thing to be like that. You know, I think so because, yeah, as a young person, you need to prepare yourself for life, men and women and whoever identifies as whatever. What's so funny to me is that, like, you know, with women, biological women who identify as men, like, bro, you may want to identify as a man, but I promise you, you don't want to be a man, bro. I fucking promise you. A man's life walking this earth is, you got to be a fucking savage, bro. In your own way. It doesn't mean you got to be a tough guy, like fucking, yeah, I'll kick your ass and all that stuff, which is kind of like how my dad tried to make me, to make sure nobody would bully me. And I still got bullied a little bit. And I did a little bit of bullying myself. Not going to lie. Mostly with my lips. You know what I'm saying. I was a quick-witted kid, and that was it. And I could take care of myself. You know, I can handle myself. But what was I saying? That, like, yeah, you got to be a fucking savage, which is that, like, dude, it's fucking relentless. If you want to be an actual man, not a male. So that's I think the difference is that, like, you know, some of these people, they just want to identify as a male, but they don't want to be a man. Because a man requires you to be, you know, in ways that is not always natural. But then there's nothing else. You'd be like, bro, if I'm a man, there's not going to be too many excuses when the fucking, you know, when the money's running dry, when the home is threatened, when somebody has to make something happen, when there's an emergency, when, like, there's not going to be too many excuses, you know. I saw a video, some guy, he, you know, whatever. There was like a pride parade yesterday in Park Slope, and I don't know, whatever he had, so I don't know who this guy was, whatever. Some guy in a suit punched this lady in the fucking face and, like, gave her a slap. Punched her in the face. She fell on the ground. And there were other men there, you know, that were, like, okay with it. And not that I wouldn't say okay with it, but they were like, you are a fucking animal, sir. You are a piece of shit, sir. And the guy's like, yeah, whatever. She fucking blah, blah, blah. And he just, like, walked off. You know, for a guy to fucking punch a woman, you know, he's not a real man. To punch a woman in the face like that in the street on Pride Day and whatever, bro, he's not a real man. That means that, like, you wouldn't even have to kick the shit out of him like some chivalrous shit. You could actually just go and grab him and threaten him up a little bit. He's not going to put his hands on you. He's not going to. Because he's not a real man. Because a real man would know that there is a threat of another real man being around if he decides to punch a woman or that's not his own in the fucking face, you know? And even if it is his own, and that's 100% wrong, just so you know, if I had to make that obvious, you can't put your hands on women, period. And that's the difference, you know, and they made us like that, you know. Yeah, it's unacceptable. I don't care. Even if you just followed the guy and called the police and said, listen, I'm staying with this guy and whatever. You don't have to do Scorpion Deathlock. You know what I'm saying? But you follow his ass fucking home with 2 or 3 other guys so that way, you know, they all feel comfortable. And you'd be like, yo, we're either backing this guy into a corner or we're following to his fucking house because he just punched some lady in the fucking face. You know? But that's like, you know, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. You know, it would be hard for me to be hard for me to watch. And again, I'm not saying that I would jump in and try, you know, any of my fucking jujitsu, my white belt jujitsu or fucking nothing. I don't know what I would do. But I know I wouldn't do nothing because then I'd have to deal with myself from doing nothing. You know? And that's part of what being a man is about. You know, these conversations that you have with yourself that you're like, yo, I am fucking losing in this area of my life. And I don't have to figure out all the beautiful thing about being in recovery and going to meetings and being around sober men is that I don't have to face myself by myself. Where like, you know, I guess what I'm saying is that I don't need the pressure of my pop to go and get my fucking meal. You know, I just need the love of my brothers and my connection with God to be like, this is the, you know, I have to just not give in to those tendencies to want to skip push-ups or to want to skip or to want to fucking hide. Bro, we were so scared about not eating that if we couldn't finish the food, which was not all the time, I would take the food and I'd throw it on the side of the fucking fridge. You know, in between the fridge and the wall. I don't know how long you could do that before it stinks and then they find it and then whatever. And then there's like a fucking beating. Then there's a belt and the fucking whatever, you know. And, because number one, you're wasting food. And number two, they got to teach you like, yo, you can't be doing, you know, that's an unauthorized trade. That's a UT. I'm drinking this sparkling ice. Cherry limeade, 0 sugar. It says with vitamins and antioxidants. You know, I'm sure it has all. Listen, the list of ingredients is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines long. So I'm sure there's it's probably fentanyl and fucking COVID-19, COVID-20 in there. Yeah, so that's you know, it's a tough way to live while you're going through those challenges. But I haven't found another way that is proven to be successful in teaching people that life is going to be hard, man. And if I don't understand and respect that, then life is going to be really fucking hard, you know? Then I'm going to have some real conversations with myself. Because I see people where, like, you know, you can't take it easy for a long time. You know, you got to work your ass off, you know, from the time you're young until you don't really have to. There's always some kind of work that's going on. But, like, you know, to find yourself and to find who you are and then keep all the good stuff and change all the bad stuff, it's almost like, how can I say this? Like, you know, you ever see where somebody's in a relation, and this was me too, because somebody told me this shit. It might have been Fisherman Mike, or it might have been TJ, one of these old school AA guys who were the fucking best back in the day, because they didn't play no shit. And I'm sure somewhere else, not in my home group now, because some of these guys I don't know if they could handle this kind of talking to. But if I was with a chick or whatever, and she was lighting me on fire, and I was lighting her on fire, and I'd be like, oh, I need help because this, that, and the third, or whatever, and I'd ask these guys, oh, you know, I'd be like, yeah, I just broke up with this girl. This girl just broke up with me, whatever. And then I'd give myself like a pass. I'd be like, yeah, she wasn't the one. And they'd be like, guess what? You wasn't the one for her neither, fucker. And I'd be like, oh, shit. Yeah. I guess if she ain't the one for me, that means I ain't the one for her. And that would be like news to me. That would be like news to me. Like, what do you mean? I'm not fucking Prince Charming, perfect, badass motherfucker to the max. Come on, bro. I could do 30 push-ups right now. You know? That ain't it. I guess that, you know, that ain't it. And to be pointed in the right direction, which is at yourself to do. That's what needs to be fixed, not everybody else. It's you that needs to be fixed. That's a lot of tough love there, you know. And that's what it is. It's people who love you telling you things that you don't want to hear, you know. And of course, everybody says, "Listen, you're doing a great job, and we're proud of you and whatever," you know. But there's more spiritual growth. You need to be getting closer to God and to who God wants you to be. You know, you think God wants you to fucking, steal from your job? Is that what you're saying? You know, you think he wants you to fucking disrespect your people, your children, your neighbors, your woman, your husband, whatever? You think that's what he wants? Why don't we start there? Yeah, it's not an easy. It's not an easy plate of food, to use the whatever, the analogy. It's not. It's a tough pill to swallow. But what happens is that, like, when you go into the dark place, which is accountability and which is discipline, like, every day, do not gamble every day, one day at a time. Do not be nice to everyone you see one day at a time. Literally, like, try that, try that. I've been on this thing for like a while. I don't even say a while. How long can I say? Maybe a couple of months. I'm staying off the PORN, the pornography, staying off, And was it an issue for me? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I know people who it is an issue for, and then I listen to them, and I'm like, bro, I ain't doing all that shit. These motherfuckers is on there 3-4 hours at a clip. I can do fucking 10 minutes, and I'm A-okay. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah. Because it's not serving me in any way. Or I'm not saying that. It stopped serving me. It was taken away from me. It was taken away from me. It's crazy. And I go on and off that stuff. My boy, little Chrissy, he knows. Because I shared this stuff with him. Because he's somebody, he's a man that I admire and that I respect and that I hold in the highest regard. And I'm not the only one. Because he is like a fucking Navy SEAL silent fucking killer. He don't want none of the fucking accolades, none of the credit. This guy's like he's like a bacon and egg sandwich. He just he puts in the work, In a lot of ways I want to be like him. So, but I've shared with him, like, dude, when I do that, guess what? And I don't have problems with my wife physically, emotionally, and mentally, and definitely not physically, bro. My wife is like, we might have another couple of properties if she got a fucking OnlyFans and a Catwoman mask with the fucking red ball in the mouth or whatever, But she, she's got too much dignity to be doing that kind of shit. I guess I would fucking do it. If I was as hot as her, I'd be like, listen, I don't give a fuck, man. We can make $30,000 a month. But some people have integrity. They'd rather make $3,000 a month, and be who they are. And I'm not saying that the people who do that stuff have no integrity, but I'm saying that it would sacrifice my wife's integrity to do that kind of shit. So she's doing the hard work too. And it's inspiring. It's inspiring because there's something for everybody online. Bro, these guys, they get all fucking crazy. My boy was telling me that there's these webcams where people just watch other people get down and do, and these cam girls, and you don't even have to pay. I'm like, who the fuck? I'm just going to, I'm going to sit there and just watch some chick dressed as a fucking dwarf or some, what is it? Like a BBW or whatever, some wild shit. The guy's got his fucking foot in her ear or whatever. Dude, it's not for me. But apparently, there's people that ain't making fucking money, bro. Well, we're over here washing rugs. Staying sober. Living by spiritual principles. Which are, I have to be honest with myself. If it didn't bother me and I felt like I wasn't hurting anybody, that's what the fuck I do. That's what I do. But, you surrender to this life. And then you do all that hard work facing yourself, preparing yourself. Preparing yourself for a lot of the stuff not going your way. For your kids not listening to you. For you never, ever. If you work, it's funny because I was telling somebody, I say this all the time. And it's like, people are like, well, tax the rich or do this or whatever. Busting people's balls who make a few coin, right? If you ask any person that has a job, or even if you're listening and you want to be honest with yourself, ask yourself if you think they're paying you enough. Invariably, it will be no. There's nobody on this earth that feels that they're being paid enough. And that's because it's up to them to decide what enough is for them. And you say, hey, well, am I doing an honest day's work? And even if I am I being undervalued? Or is there no value? Is my value, my perception of myself, can it not be satiated? If you ask a teacher, they'd be like, yo, 200,000 I should be making. I'm like, you fucking stupid. I never met a happy teacher in my life. Not one. I fucking swear, not one. I always say they're like police officers. I never met a happy one in my life. Because happiness is coming from the inside. Happiness comes from you being who you are at all times. As much as you can. That's where happiness comes from. And that's the deal. So that's what we strive for. But in order to get that, you have to earn it, which means you got to do your push-ups. That's what that means. You got to do your push-ups. So either way, love you guys. Like and subscribe on all podcast platforms. Find us over there on YouTube. And again, that opening track was from Jordan Alva, JORDONALVA. He's also streaming on all podcast platforms. The name of that song was Scenic. It's off his 2023 album called Naive. I love you guys. Peace.